Hello, Jays Nation. Welcome back to your go-to channel, the Toronto Blue Jays News Network, where we bleed blue and breathe baseball 24/7. Today, we have 3 jam-packed updates about our Blue Army that just came to notice a few hours ago. Folks, the hot stove is officially burning, and the landscape of the Major League Baseball offseason has shifted dramatically overnight. We are talking about massive trades, potential superstar signings, and some controversial targets that the front office is looking at right now. So if you are a true Jays fan, you do not want to miss these updates because what happened last night directly impacts the future of this franchise. And yes, before we start the video, I have a small request for you. If you are new to the channel, then do not forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button so that you can stay in the loop with everything happening at One Blue Jays Way. Now, let's get into the madness. Update 1. Nightmare scenario? Did the Mets just ruin the Blue Jays' plan for Kyle Tucker? All right, let us dive straight into the biggest story of the day. And honestly, this is a bit of a heavy hitter for us here in Toronto. A massive blockbuster trade just went down on Sunday night involving the Texas Rangers and the New York Mets. And while this does not directly involve a Blue Jays player moving teams, it threw a major roadblock in our pursuit of a superstar outfielder. Here is the situation. The New York Mets have made the biggest splash of the offseason so far. In a shocking move, the Mets have acquired a former Toronto Blue Jay, yes, the one and only second baseman Marcus Semien, from the Texas Rangers. In exchange, the Mets are sending outfielder Brandon Nimmo down south to Texas. Now, on the surface, you might be thinking, okay, good for Marcus Semien. He is going back to the Big Apple. But we need to peel back the layers here because this is actually bad news for the Blue Jays offseason blueprint. We all know that the Toronto Blue Jays have been heavily linked to Chicago Cubs outfielder Kyle Tucker. He is the dream target. He is the left-handed power bat we desperately need. But with this trade, the New York Mets have just cleared a massive spot in their outfield by shipping off Brandon Nimmo. With Nimmo gone, the Mets have a glaring opening, and reports are flooding in that they are now looking at the exact same target the Blue Jays are pursuing, Kyle Tucker. But their roster was too clogged up. Well, that problem is gone now. Passan stated that Kyle Tucker's desire to win will be a guiding principle for his free agency decision, keeping the New York Yankees and the New York Mets in the mix. And now that the Mets have moved Nimmo, they are dangerous. Let us talk about the money, because this is where it gets scary for Toronto. The New York Mets are assuming the remaining $72 million left on Marcus Semien's deal. On the flip side, Brandon Nimmo was owed $101.25 million. Bob Nightingale reported that the Mets are even sending Texas $5 million to offset the difference. Why does this matter to us? Because the addition of Semien and the removal of Nimmo clears up significant payroll space for the Mets to make another massive addition. Experts have predicted that Kyle Tucker could command as much as a $400 million deal. The Mets, backed by owner Steve Cohen, now have both the room on the payroll and the empty slot in the outfield to make that deal happen immediately. Kyle Tucker does not just need to be a right fielder either. While he has not played left field in the major leagues since 2020, he is athletic enough to make the transition. This means the Mets could theoretically have Juan Soto and Kyle Tucker in the same lineup. This trade complicates everything for Ross Atkins and the Blue Jays front office. It was never expected to be an easy chase for Toronto, but with the Mets making this calculated move, they have signaled they are all in. The Blue Jays have been increasingly linked to Tucker, but with more teams making their intentions known and opening up checkbooks, the Blue Jays may have to start thinking about alternatives if they cannot outbid New York. This is a developing story, but right now the road to signing Kyle Tucker just got a whole lot steeper for our boys in blue. Update 2. Bullpen Overhaul. Blue Jays meeting with two-time All-Star and Reliever of the Year? Moving on to our second update, and this one is all about fortifying the pitching staff. We know the bullpen was a roller coaster ride last season, and it looks like Ross Atkins is finally trying to stabilize the ship. The Toronto Blue Jays have been reportedly linked to some high-end relievers already this offseason, and the names dropping today are absolutely huge. First up, let us talk about the biggest fish in the pond. We are hearing reports that the Blue Jays have officially linked themselves to three-time All-Star closer Edwin Díaz. This is the kind of elite arm that changes a bullpen overnight. Reports indicate that the Blue Jays actually met with Díaz's representatives earlier in the offseason to gauge interest. However, we have to be realistic here. Jays Nation. Keegan Matheson from MajorLeagueBaseball.com notes that Edwin Díaz is the top reliever on the market and will command a large contract, something the Blue Jays have not handed out often to relievers. He is going to be expensive and there is fierce competition. But here is where it gets really interesting. Díaz is not the only all-star reliever who has been floated as a fit for Toronto. There is another name you need to keep in mind: Ryan Helsley. Keegan Matheson noted that the Blue Jays actually called the St. Louis Cardinals about Helsley ahead of the trade deadline last year. That interest has not disappeared. Helsley is a two-time All-Star and, get this, he won the 2024 Trevor Hoffman National League Reliever of the Year award. He has the pedigree of a shutdown closer. Now, let us look at the numbers, because his 2025 season was a tale of two cities. In 2025, Helsley posted a 4.50 earned run average in 58 appearances split between the St. Louis Cardinals and the New York Mets. See the connection there? He ended up with the Mets, the same team we just talked about in our first story. While he had a rock-solid 3.00 earned run average in 36 appearances with St. Louis, he really struggled down the stretch after moving to New York. But this dip in performance might actually work in our favor. In comparison, back in 2024, he was untouchable with a 2.04 earned run average in 65 outings. Because he struggled late in 2025 with the Mets, Helsley will surely be less expensive than a premium name like Edwin Díaz, but he still has all the upside in the world. Matheson also mentioned that Devin Williams and Robert Suarez are available on the market. So, the front office is casting a wide net, but the question remains, do we break the bank for Díaz, or do we try to capitalize on Helsley's value and hope he returns to his reliever of the year form? One thing is for sure, the Blue Jays are not content with running back the same bullpen next year. Update 3. The next Robbie Ray. Blue Jays linked to fallen ace in high-stakes gamble. And for our final story of the day, we are looking at the starting rotation. We all remember the magic of 2021, right? The Blue Jays took a chance on a struggling lefty named Robbie Ray, and he turned into the American League Cy Young Award winner. Well, history might be about to repeat itself because the Blue Jays have identified their primary free agent target for 2025, Zac Gallen. According to new reports surfacing just a few hours ago, the Blue Jays are looking at handing out a show-me contract to the former Arizona Diamondback. But folks, this one comes with a massive warning label. Let us look at the context. In 2025, the 30-year-old Zac Gallen made all 33 of his starts, which proves he is durable. He threw 192 innings, essentially acting as a replacement for the innings eater role that Chris Bassett filled. However, his performance, to put it bluntly, fell off a cliff. Gallen finished the 2025 season with a career-worst 4.83 earned run average and a 4.50 fielding independent pitching. His strikeout percentage plummeted to 21.5%, down from around 27% when he was at his absolute best. It is a scary drop-off for a guy who finished third in Cy Young voting just 2 years ago in 2023. But here is where the Blue Jays front office and pitching coach Pete Walker might see a diamond in the rough. Despite the bad results, the underlying numbers are strange. His velocity did not drop. In fact, his hard hit rate actually improved, dropping from 46.2% in 2023 to 43% in 2025. He is not getting crushed, he is just not getting the results. This screams Pete Walker Reclamation Project. Remember, Robbie Ray had a rough couple of years before coming to Toronto. Gallen has that same elite potential. At his best, he could be the Blue Jays' ace. If he bounces back to his 2022 form, where he posted a 2.54 earned run average, this could be the steal of the offseason. However, there is a major catch. This is not a free spin at the wheel. Zac Gallen was given a qualifying offer by his former team, and he declined it. This means that if the Blue Jays sign him, they will lose their second and fourth round draft picks. Losing draft picks is always tough, especially after the team fell just 2 outs shy of winning the World Series recently. The report explicitly states that losing picks isn't a problem if you win, but it is a huge problem if the player flops. There are better, lower-risk options out there who do not cost draft capital. So, the question for Ross Atkins is this: is Zac Gallen the next Robbie Ray, ready to win a Cy Young in a Blue Jays uniform? Or is he a declining asset that will cost us valuable future prospects? It is a high-risk, high-reward type of signing that could define our rotation for the next few years. So there you have it, Jays Nation. 3 massive updates that could shape the future of our team. We have the Mets potentially blocking our path to Kyle Tucker, a possible bullpen overhaul with Ryan Helsley, and a high-stakes gamble on starting pitcher Zac Gallen. I want to hear from you in the comments section below. Question of the day: would you be willing to give up a 2nd and 4th round draft pick to sign Zac Gallen, or is the risk too high? Let me know your thoughts. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and want to stay ahead of every trade rumor and roster move, make sure you smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update from the Toronto Blue Jays News Network. Thank you so much for watching. Keep your head up, keep cheering loud, and as always, let's go Blue Jays.